who can't go into churches without vomiting.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro to the Mindset Podcast, a weekly attempt to open eyes and shedding light on what's really going on in the world, all done by ripping apart the media madness that masquerades as news. Join me, Gareth Davis, every Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting services such as iTunes, Stitcher, and so on. Or you can go directly to the main Mindset website. That's www.mindsetcentral.com. Check out the Mindset Podcast. Bring your curiosity, your opinions, and a sense of humor. And remember that some worldviews are stranger than others.
Radio here live on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course simulcasting live on our YouTube channel. No matter how much, Alex, I try to get used to that. I'm not used to it. I want to say exclusively on the New Visions Radio Network, but we've been broadcasting on the YouTube channel for like how many episodes?
Well, since the beginning of the season 13.
Yeah,
so September.
Pretty much. I still can't get used to it. But, we'll get right into it. We've got a good friend, and you've been on the show a couple times. Archbishop Plato Angelakis.
Angelakis, that's it.
See?
But it sounds better when it's like angelical, you know what I mean? Like,
well, just think Angela with a kiss.
That's it.
Angela with a kiss.
Angela with a kiss.
Angela with a kiss, yeah.
Angela.
That's the best way to do it right there.
That's it.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that have trouble with your last name. I know people have trouble with my last name.
Yeah. Yeah, when they don't want to say the name at all, I know they haven't got it. So that's fine.
Well, at least I attempted.
Perfect.
So how are you doing?
I'm doing great. With all the COVID, everything going on, there's been a lot of changes, and I haven't been able to do a lot of the things that I want to do or the way I want to do them, but I work around it. I've been pretty good, staying healthy. Can't complain.
So what have you found different since the COVID protocols have come into place? Like, obviously travel is one thing, but I mean like consultations and stuff like that. How have things changed?
One aspect, it like I said, with the travel, it impedes me from having to be able to go and help people, especially across the border. With all the restrictions, I'm trying to keep my distance as well, because I'm a healthcare worker. I'm a registered nurse by trade, right? I work, in hospitals and critical care and on the floor and whole bed, so ER, and so I gotta stay clean. I gotta stay healthy. I gotta stay COVID free. That's one aspect. The other one really is the fact that I've noticed a great increase in demand for help. I don't know if that's because a lot of people are now home more and noticing more things at home. And of course, I would assume the stress level is up, with loss of jobs and working from home and who knows what else, with the COVID, job issues and whatnot. People uh, having trouble coping, right? I mean, it's like, before COVID-19, everybody gets to a point where they're able to cope with their issues or stresses, whatever they might be, even their spirituality, if I can go that far. And once COVID came out, it just threw everything. Everything got de-weeded, and all the roots came out, and so people now can't even cope at all. So I'm finding they're calling me up with things like, oh, lost my job, I'm having problems at home, this, and that. I think I'm possessed. I don't think that's. No, I'm getting those kinds of calls. It's crazy. Like, I think my world's all upside down. No, it's not. It's COVID-19, and and we've got to move on. We've got to make some adjustments. You've got to make some concessions, sacrifices, whatever it's going to take. I've had to. Everybody has to. But on the positive side of all this sort of these changes is that I'm now trying to help people more remotely by sending them things. And like I said earlier, I know you've brought someone to me as a consult. Mm-hmm. So I'm being quite far away. I would just send them the oil, the salt, the prayers, the water, everything, blessed objects, crosses, medals, but everything. Everything I've got, rosaries. I send everything to them. Then we talk over the phone about what you're going to do, and I let them sort of let them do the work. I let them sort of, figure out what the issue is, and we'll consult that way. And if I have to absolutely go, I will go. But with all the restrictions, I'm now making them do the work, mm-hmm. and I'm finding that to be quite productive, quite good. I'm noticing that people are that that's actually a good thing. Let them work it through. It's their journey. It's their sort of their issues. So instead of me coming there and sort of doing what I got to do, I'll let them work through it. And so it's just a different approach. As long as the outcomes are good, I'm good with that too. So that's a positive thing. But that's not really how I operate. I prefer to go there and talk to people, have interviews. I bring a team with me. I bring investigators. We bring, the typical, paranormal, the cameras and all the audio. We do a couple of days of investigations. We do the interviews. We do the consents. I may speak to doctors. I may be doing some things that way. Looking at your lifestyle, looking at the family, history, property, the history of the property, the land, all those things is the typical things that we normally would do. And then, of course, go from there. Have some kind of plan of care, right? An approach. That's all out the window because I can't do those things anymore. I can't even go and check on someone's history on a piece of property because the office is closed because of a lockdown. So things like that, they impede you, right? You can't call the registry office and say, who was the last couple of owners and what happened, and any history, any particular trauma that occurred there. I can't get a hold of anybody. News outlets. Sort of things that impedes me.
So besides the spiritual sort of counseling that you provide, what else do you do? Is there something else that you do in terms of saying like an investigation, a case, whatever? Is there you mentioned history, so I'm just wondering, is there more to just the spiritual sort of aspect that you provide, or is there something else that you do?
It's everything. It's all that I mentioned. It's basically, we gotta meet the couple first. Like I just finished a couple of courses online with the Vatican in regards to exorcisms and sort of prayers of deliverance. I'm not able to go to Rome, so they've now provided the courses online for me, which is fine for a lot of people actually. And their premise is take your time, go in and do the thorough investigation. So having said that, I have a team of people that I work with. They're empaths and clairvoyants and mystics, and I work with a sister, and now I've got people who are great with the tech work. Doing the cameras and the audio for any activity that might be in the home. I got people that are great at research, looking at the home, the land, sort of the history of the property, or even trying to get a hold of other people that used to live there and try to find out, lots of interviewing, this isn't just a person who's afflicted but their spouse and their siblings and the animals and the whole bit. So I did a farm out in Cornwall not too long ago, and there was two suicides on the property, lots of extensive history, a 200-year-old house, the noose that the person hung himself was still in the barn hanging up. but it took a lot of work, lots of prep, lots of people involved to get the whole picture. So yeah, and that's what I do. I work with a team. My specialty may not be research, but I know people who are great at it. I know people who
Yeah.
are great at finding cases and the interviewing. I work with people who are nurses who are also on the team, and they do like the vitals and the medical history and the head to toe, you know, uh, your condition medically. I'll get consent forms from the client, and I'll actually call their doctor up. I'll say, hi, Dr. Jones, and Archbishop Plato. I'm speaking with your so and so, patient. Uh, now I'm part of their care. I've got consent to do so, and I'll speak to the doctor. Anything going on? Any psychiatric issues going on? I try to rule out anything. It's like debunking in a sense. I try to rule out things that, that we can explain or we can help, and we always start from the more minimal to the most extreme. If it gets to the point where I'm going to have to go in there and do a full blown exorcism, then so be it. Of the property or the person or the animals or whatnot. But we always work our way up. But I have a team of people. I don't do all the work myself.
So are you psychic too? Because you named my doctor Dr. Jones. No, I'm just kidding.
I've been told I've got some psychic ability, and I can go in and I can sense some things. I just don't develop it. It's just not. Yeah. It's not me. I mean, I work on my spirituality. I work on my skills as an exorcist, as an archbishop. Try to manage that ministry. I think I'm taking extensive courses through the Vatican, so I'm like a Vatican trained exorcism. And then, because they're still doing a lot of research on it, and there's so much development in that now with all the paranormal things that are going on in the world. The Vatican's gotten involved, as well as other denominations. There's the Muslim world has their own rituals. The Eastern rites, the Indian culture has their own. Even the Jewish, the Hebrew, they have their own ritual as well. So they all have their own rules. So just try to follow the rules and using the rituals appropriately, and sort of everybody's sort of doing the same thing. There's so much that going on that they have to get involved. They have like 4 or 5 times a year they have meetings, which I all participate in. They do a lot of research in different countries, how one country may be more paranormally sort of active than other countries, and so they're doing their own research. So everybody's sort of doing their own thing. So that's where my aspect is. I'm really trying to tap in. I'm trying to do trying to get that fellowship and that camaraderie with other people from other countries that are doing the same thing, their approaches and what works for them and what doesn't work, and we sort of share on that. That's where I'm focusing my efforts on. I leave the clairvoyant stuff to people who are that's what they do. Like I work with a Reiki master. She's awesome. She's my right hand person, and she goes in and she assists me in all my exorcism. But she's a Reiki master, right? Like proper lineage, and she's great. She's also clairvoyant. She's now a sister. She converted to Catholicism, became a sister, and she'll do post exorcism Reiki on people. So as we sort of cleanse people, there's an empty space there, and then she'll sort of do her Reiki sessions on people, and the outcomes are great. People love it. So, I'm trying to integrate a lot of those skills that other people have that may not be Catholic. They may just be other sort of things. The crystal work, the healing, the Reiki, all those sorts of things. When done right and done by someone who knows what they're doing, very effective, great outcomes. It's all about leaving the person better than you found them. So my focus is on spirituality sort of thing, and I'm able to sort of discern and get everybody else's sort of advice. Get in there, let them all do their thing. If they're psychic, if they're clairvoyant, mystics, whatever you want to call them, they go in. They let me know what's going on. They would sort of sit down as a team and would say, "This is what we're going to do." So when it's my turn to do my thing, then I do my thing. I let them do their thing, but it's a team effort. So that's where my focus is. But yeah, if you want to ask what do I do, I may coordinate that. I may say, okay, I'm going to bring in certain people because I think I'm going to get more information by using certain individuals. That maybe someone who needs to do some extensive research or some extensive interviewing, or maybe I'll call a peer that's a medical professional that believes in what we're doing. He's also into the paranormal. He can help. Maybe he can help me more of the medical dealing with some of the medical aspects. Because I mean, and I mean, with the training I got in Rome, it's the understanding is not just it isn't just um, demonic, for example, or paranormal, and versus psychiatric. It could be a slight overlap. You might have a little bit of both. There are ways to distinguish between one or the other, but there can be a small overlap. So we need to take that into consideration because I've had, like, for example, I've had some people who have some bereavement issues. They've lost a child, a teenage child, and they just can't seem to get past that. They need to grieve. They need to see counseling. Need to see people who can help them deal with the loss, the guilt, the shame, whatever it is that they're dealing with. I may go in there and do my cleansing, but then it's a lot better, but they're still not quite resolved because they haven't done their part. They need to go and get that counseling. So I may get that involved for them. Say, okay, we need you need to go further with this. You need to see a doctor, get a consult, get some help dealing with that, because that was the thing that opened you up to whatever oppression or attachments that you have now. So you need to be able to take care of the other stuff, or I can't resolve those issues for you. So a lot of it now, especially now with COVID, I focus on now getting them to go get that help in advance.
Yeah.
And then see where we stand. And then if I need to come in, I will do that.
So you mentioned you have a dedicated team that you work with, and you work with another team down, or you advise another team south of the border there, New England, right? Ed and Lorraine's.
Yeah. So that was It's like I have a team in Ottawa that I work with. I got a team out in the Michigan area, in Mortartown, Detroit. So I've got those sort of teams that I work with. But one of the primary teams is, of course, the NESPAR, New England Society of Paranormal Research, with Tony Spera, the Ed and Lorraine Warren team. That was sort of a fluke. I went down. I got a call. By Dan, who's one of the lead investigators, about a year ago. He said there was a case out in Europe. They were going to bring the lady over here. They were going to document it. I was going to do an exorcism on her, extensive history. But long story short, I went down 2 years ago. I think it was a year ago. Yeah, it wasn't last fall. It was the year prior. I went down to they were having an Annabelle event where they had Annabelle on display. People were coming to pay and have pictures done with Annabelle and whatnot. And then the Conjuring Mirror and some of the other objects from the Occult Museum. So I went down to meet Dan. They were having this event. I thought it was a good time to go down and just chat with their team about this documentary. It wasn't anything about joining the team. But once I got down there, and I had brought with me my clairvoyant partner that I use. So we went down together and we met up with them all. And then they asked me if I would bless their Occult Museum, which is on YouTube. And I did all that. And next thing you know, I became part of the team. They became their resident priests. Unfortunately, since the border closing, we haven't done any further investigations, but we had done some once I joined up. We were in New Jersey, Rochester, did a few other ones that we did were quite successful. But yeah, so we'll get involved in that. Get involved with that team. So yeah, I'm on the team. Unfortunately, with the border closing, I can't really do much with them. I will consult over the phone. But yeah, that's how I came on board, and it's a great team. They've just basically taken on the legacy of Ed and Lorraine, and they're carrying forward. They're doing further investigations. The Occult Museum is still there. It's not open to the public because of zoning issues, because the house Ed and Lorraine's house is in a residential area. So Tony Spare, who is the son-in-law, Judy is the daughter, biological daughter. They're the two directors. They're trying to look for a location somewhere in Connecticut where they reside, and they're going to open up another a location where we can move these objects. So they've got numerous objects there, things from the Amityville house and Haunted in Connecticut, Conjuring, Annabelle's there, like it's all encased. And so it's quite a place. It's quite the collection of things that they've accumulated over the years. Quite a history. So I'm proud to be a part of the team, and I'm there to support them, and hopefully when this COVID breaks and the border opens up, I'll be down there on a regular basis.
Hopefully sooner than later. I'm itching to get some stuff going. It's just too much. We're going to take a short break here. When we come back, let's talk about some of the work that you've done
Sure.
And some techniques and all sorts of stuff. Don't go anywhere. You're watching and listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course on our YouTube channel. If you're catching us, watching us on our YouTube channel, thanks for tuning in and watching. You can follow us on Twitter at Dark Discussions. Facebook.com/Nocturnal Frequency Radio, Instagram Nocturnal Frequency Radio, and of course here on YouTube. Please like and subscribe the show tonight, and do subscribe to follow. Until we're back, hold on tight.
This is Keith Page, and you're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Enjoy.
hear that? Sounded like a scream.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I heard that.
And as you can see, I don't know what kind of bone this is. It's rather big. If it's a deer bone, an animal bone, hopefully it's an animal bone and not human. But I think we're gonna have to report this.
Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
This is Keith Age, and you're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Enjoy.
Back to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here live on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course our YouTube channel. There you go again. I was going to say exclusively on the New Visions.
Yeah, you got to break that
Network.
habit.
I just can't. That's what happens. I mean, we've been here on New Visions for 6 years now.
It's been a while.
I mean, it's ingrained in my brain. It's kind of hard.
I think that was all part of their plan, is to just have us sort of brainwashed.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, that always par for the course.
Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, or if you're just catching us live on our YouTube channel, we've got our good friend Archbishop Plato. Sorry, I said
Got
Plato.
it. Plato's
Plato.
Just Plato's fine.
Oh god. Yeah. So anyways, we were kind of chatting there earlier, during the break there, and let's get into what drove you to get into the paranormal. Like, I mean, what?
Nothing drove me. I just got a call one day. It was just a calling that I didn't even expect. I was, like I said, I'm a registered nurse full time. That's how I make my living, pay my bills, my mortgage. And I went to, the seminary, did a lot of courses. I ended up wanting to become an ordained priest. From there, I was invited to become an archbishop. Sorry, a bishop, actually, forgive me, with the Mexican National Catholic Church, because my bishop was down that way, down in Texas. And he invited me to be elevated to a bishop. And then, of course, he now made me his representative in Canada, which now makes me an archbishop. I'm supposed to have to be a cardinal last fall, but that didn't happen because of COVID. But despite all that, that's all I was doing. I was doing marriages, baptisms, funerals, consulting, whatever, saying mass, those kinds of things. And then I got a call. I got a call. Someone called me out in the Ottawa area. They had a case. The paranormal team went in and called me and said, "We're over our heads. We got something we're dealing with that we don't know how to deal with. And could you come down and help us out?" Didn't give it much thought. Thought, okay, sure, why not? Because just by virtue of being ordained, I am an exorcist. We all are. All priests are really by virtue. When you're ordained, you become an acolyte, and then an exorcist, a deacon, a priest, and and up that way. So we're all exorcists. Because an exorcism isn't just what you see on TV. A baptism is an exorcism. A reconciliation is a baptism. Spiritual prayers of deliverance. Those are sort of forms of exorcisms. So it encompasses many, many different types of things. So I said, sure, I'll go. And off I went to Ottawa and to meet the team for the first time. And this is quite a few years ago, actually. Yeah, I got into it. I realized, wow, this is like a little bit more than what I really thought. I mean, most times, as a priest, I would go in, what do you want your house blessed? I open a book, I basically read the prayer and throw some holy water around. Your house is blessed, But have you ever seen the movie The Rite? The movie The Rite,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in the movie, I always give this example because it's probably the best example I can give. In the movie, at the very end, near the end, when he finally had to go do the exorcism on his peer, on his other priest. He was just reading the words, and he was just getting the book out. And he was just reading the words, and then he gave up at one point, and he went down the stairs, and that reporter says, you can't give up. He said, you were brought here for this. This is something, and it's more than just the words. In the movie, quite a few times they talked about, they're just words to you. They're just words. You just know. I just said some prayers to a person who got hit by a car. So that was what I was at. That was my first experience in an exorcism, and I was basically just reading the words. I had the ritual, and I was just basically reading. Okay, the power of Christ compels you. It's just reading the words, and I realized at that point that it's more than that. It's a calling, it's a passion. It's you have that boldness and veracity. And you're going in there. It's a battle. It's an attack. And you have to take it in that sort of context. And that's where I learned from that one case, because when I went there and I started doing that, next thing you know, there's this overwhelming strength from this woman, and the language that was coming out, and she was tossing us around, and she was strong as heck. And thinking, oh my goodness, this is like the movie in a sense. And but I was just reading the words, and the words weren't really being effective because I was like, okay, I'm just going to come to read some words, and I'm just going to head back home. That isn't the case. So at that point, it became, I worked, and I went back the second day. I went back, and I was more determined to work at this and get this lady liberated, and it was successful. The outcome was good. So, but I had to change my approach. It wasn't simply reading the words. It's like I got to put my energy and my life and my sort of soul into it. Then it becomes a calling, and then that's where it took off. And ever since then, that's all I've been doing. So it's like, okay, it's a battle. How are we going to do this? I get my team together. I get all my facts together. That's very important. You just can't walk into anything. You need to go in there and do all your prep work, interviews, and all your audio, video, evidence, pictures, medical, everything. Then, you've got, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And now I'm going to do battle. It's basically I'm going to do battle. So it's like I'm determined. It isn't simply just go in there, open the book, okay, sign of the cross, throw some holy water, say a few prayers, and it's done. No, it's there's a passion involved. It's like saying mass. You can go up and a priest can go up and say mass, and he can just go and say, okay, this is the body of Christ, and do this and that. it's you need to go up there with the passion and the veracity of in what you're doing. So that's where the calling. That's where you really have to have that calling. That this is for you, because it isn't for everybody. And even though priests can be exorcists, just by virtue of being ordained, that may not be their calling. They might be great on the pulpit. They might be great at giving you this wonderful sermon, that can just move you, right? There's some people that are great at palliative, palliation. People are dying. People are great at doing funeral services that can be, like life changing for people. Wonderful things. Marriages, that might be your passion, or being in the military, being a military chaplain. Everything has a bit of a ministry to it. It's your passion. This seems to be mine. So now that's all I seem to be doing. But I love it. I love what I do. I've gotten quite good at what I do. It's taken time. I made a lot of mistakes on my first one. Overlooked a lot of things. Wasn't prepared. I'll be honest. Wasn't prepared. I went there with my ritual book. That's my point, really. Wasn't really prepared. I walked into this not knowing really what I'm really doing the ritual. Why isn't it not working? And of course, not being prepared to see some of the other things that were going on, and not having the evidence based that's required, the investigation, the interviews, all those things were lacking at that time. Since then, obviously, I've learned all that and perfected it to a point where when I go in, I'm quite prepared, and the outcomes are good because of it.
I just had a quick question. Yeah, I just want to say, have you ever come across, like, have you actually visually seen something when you've done any of these exorcisms?
Oh yeah. I've got an audio, a video. I can hear the voices. I can hear the voice from the person's mouth coming out. It's definitely not their voice. Things flying off the shelves, pictures flying off, things being tossed over, like a toolbox being completely turned over. A heavy toolbox got pushed over, no one around it. A lot of this stuff got videotaped. I've got a lot of photo sort of evidence, like when I helped sort of that person who sort of killed himself, hung themselves at the farmhouse, for example. I got a picture at that time. Someone took a picture when I was doing sort of like releasing them, forgiving them, get them to move on, go to the light sort of thing. Someone was taking pictures, and we caught a wing of it, like a wing of an angel, like they were coming down, scooping up to pick up the person, take them wherever. So those kinds of things I was able to capture. So I've seen things all the time. I'll see shadows. I'll see. I'll pick up smells. Definitely sounds. I'll hear grunting. Some of the people who are a little more sensitive, like the empaths and whatnot, and the clairvoyants, will pick up a lot more, and then they will usually tell me what they're hearing, what they're saying. Some people have the spirit boxes and things like that. And we might pick up some things on that. Everybody brings different tools, right? So I have seen a lot of things, a wide variety of things, actually.
Has anything ever freaked you out or anything?
No, like I said, it doesn't bother me. I don't feel afraid. I don't people say, "Aren't you afraid?" I said, "Well, back in 1970 when I watched the Exorcism movie when I was a young king, it scared the heck out of me. I mean, I mean, oh my God, a bunch of horror movies, but I'm not afraid. It doesn't bother me because, like I said, this is a calling. You have to have the faith base. It doesn't really matter. Honestly, I'm Catholic based, and I do the Catholic ritual, but I think the people that I deal with, if they're not Catholic, as long as they have a good spiritual base, they believe in God. I mean, I've got people who call me up and say, I don't believe in God at all, and I don't care about my lifestyle. It's not like, I barely don't have very good moral lifestyles. And I don't really care. But, there's something in my house, and I want you to come and help get rid of it, but I'm not planning on doing any changes. Well, I mean, I use God to get to do my thing, right? So I use, I'm calling upon God. The ritual is quite clear. You say, it is not I who commands you; it is God who commands you. It is Christ, our Jesus commands you. It's the Holy Spirit commands you. Give me your name, demon, or whatever. You're using God, to do this. So if people don't have the faith, and they don't believe in what you're doing, then what I'm doing isn't going to work for you, sort of thing. And having said that, I'm not afraid, because to me, it's not like people say, are you sure it's going to work? Like I said, well, to me, I'm going in with the premise that I'm going to get rid of this thing, guaranteed. This is not Hollywood. This is not, well, there'll be a sequel. The devil's going to come back. You didn't get rid of the spirit. It's going to come back. This is not Hollywood. This is like you're going in, and God is absolute 100% in my book. And if I'm going in with 100%, it's 100% Monday to Sunday, 24/7, all the time, forever. It's not like God's only effective on Friday, 40%, and 30% on Tuesdays, and maybe let's do this on Monday because God's 90%. It's not. It's absolute. So I go away without that fear, because I know that God will take care of this. And unlike Hollywood, when the demon is told to go, it goes. It might take work, a little bit of work, but it does ultimately have to go. It has no choice. Unlike Hollywood, might come back, give you some hard times, but in the real world, it goes. It has to go. It may end up going somewhere else eventually, or it may end up go back down to where it's coming from, some realm, and someone else might bring it up again, or conjure it back up. But it has to leave this person. So that's why that fear is not there. There's an absolute, like there's truth and absolute in my book. And it will always work.
So, okay, so let's get down to the meat and bones about how do you decide if somebody is truly possessed, for instance, by a demonic or evil presence, or.
Well, like I said, we start out with the investigation stuff, which I don't usually get involved in, because I try to stay away from that aspect. Because once they see the priest, then they just want what I have to give. So I kind of send in a team, and I want to, and they go in and they do the scientific part, because I'm all for the science. So the approach is they go in, they put the cameras, the audio, they do the overnight stuff. They got the flashlights, they go around. Maybe they got their devices, the EVPs and all that stuff is being done, and it's documented. Then there'll be someone who might come in and do some interviews, say what's going on, how long has this been going on, have you been tampering with things and conjuring things up, and all that needs to happen. And then with all that, after having a discussion and whatnot, I'll actually call the client up, and I'll have a one-to-one with them. And if I feel that I'm sensing the distress, and I feel that there's some sincerity there, and then I end up giving them some homework in a sense. So I say, okay, well, I need you to. I'll send you, and if you don't have it, I'll send you the oils, the salt, exorcism salt, oil, the water, the prayers, the blessed objects, everything. I tell them usually, if it's a real thing, the activity will escalate initially because it's being threatened, and then I should see it subside. I give them homework. I say, take salt baths to take some of the attachments away. Put some salt and oil in a bath, soak completely, submerge, and the water tends to turn gray or black because the attachments are actually being drawn out. And then most of the times, like almost every time, they tell me, "Oh my God, I feel much better. I feel lighter." I get them to start doing prayers. I have very specific prayers I send them. It isn't just like Our Fathers and things. Specific prayers on forgiveness and belief and renouncement of any occult stuff that they might have got involved in, anything that might have opened themselves up. I've got certain prayers that helps unbind curses that maybe someone's cursed them or they've got involved in curses. So there's a specific regimen of prayers that I will send them. So I get them to do those, and then I see where they're at, and I see if they're serious about about their condition, and if they're serious about the actual wanting to be liberated from this. And then if I find that okay, it's there, these things are working, but they're not. They need a little bit more. Then I will book a time that I'm going to come down or bring the team. I get the team assembled together. We come down and we do a thorough a cleansing and the whole bit. So that's where it leads. And that's basically, by sending them the objects and the oil and stuff, I get to see their sincerity, number one. Number two, I get to see if the activity continues. I get the team involved. I get the evidence, which I get to review later. I want to make sure, if I have to, like I said, I've asked them for consent, and I've called their doctors and see if they have any mental history. I do a thorough family history. I'm trying to find out what might be going on there, because there's a lot of people who just call up and saying, I'm possessed and I need someone to come do an exorcism on me. Well, first of all, if you are possessed, you're not going to cast me for an exorcism, because if you have a demon in you, that demon is not going to make you call me up. Usually I've had people who have been really sincerely possessed badly, that I've had, usually family members will call me and say, you know what, my husband or my children, or, we can't seem to reach them. There's an issue. Then, I get a call from a family member. But most times I get people just say, well, I'm possessed and I just need someone to do this. And, I just don't just drop what I'm doing just to go drive whatever, 10, 20 hours or 15 hours, where I'm going across the border, wherever, just to go. And, there's lots of thorough investigative work that needs to get done. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. And I think that needs to be pointed out to people. You just can't call and say, hi, I'm Joe. I think I'm possessed. I need an exorcism. Can you come help me? It doesn't work that way. Yeah. But that's what they're expecting. And it doesn't work that way.
So what happens?
You have to do the work.
What happens if you come across a scenario where someone claims that they've been, where they're possessed or they have an attachment, but through the investigation of your team and yourself, you find out that this guy's or woman, whatever, is just making it all up? What do you do at that point?
Well, going to someone's house and having a prayer. I'll be honest. I've had a little old lady call me up once and said, my house needs blessing. There's something here, and I've gone to the home. And this is my early years of doing this. I go to the house, and and I find there's nothing there. You know what? I'll just do a nice house blessing, do a prayers over her. We pray together. I leave a couple hours later. No harm, no foul. She feels good. No big deal. Going to someone's house and just sitting down and having a nice prayer time, or having a blessing in the house, or a cleansing in the house. I sprinkle some salt and holy water, makes her feel good. Maybe it's placebo effect for her. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. There's no hurt in doing it. I just noticed that things have been escalating so much in the last several years, especially with the COVID now, that I have to kind of pick and choose my battles, right? In the earlier days, I would go, okay, nothing's really happening here. The one case we talked, like you referred to me, I thought, oh my God, initially we're going to have to go, we're going to have to actually travel there and get a hotel, do the whole thing, get the whole team down there. And after sending the stuff, find that there isn't that urgency. So it all depends, right? But going in someone's house and saying some prayers makes the person feel better. It's it's no harm. But I really have to pick. I got to pick my battles. I just can't do everybody's house. It's virtually impossible to get everybody.
So how many cases can you admit were basically actual authentic demon possessions?
5-10% of
really?
all the cases.
Really?
Yeah, it's not much. It's not as many as you think. People think that a lot of it is it might be a little bit more, but actual demonic 10% maybe. The rest is usually earthbound spirits that haven't moved on, still in the house due to a traumatic event, that they just need to move on. Family members perhaps haven't dealt with the grieving part, maybe the forgiveness part, and these spirits will remain behind, and they do things to try to get your attention or whatever. So they may, in presentation, appear to be demonic, but they're not. They're earthbound spirits. Having said that, what I do find is that some of the souls that seem to remain behind for whatever reason, it always seems to be possibly something demonic that sort of lingers in the background, not necessarily active It's just there, and I think it's because we're all energy, right? In the sense like we're all like just big balls of energy. So these demons seem to need these earthbound spirits to sort of feed off their energy, especially children. They just love the energy. So once I find I can get people to move on, the demonic tends just to leave on its own because there's nothing there to actually keep it there any longer. But if things stay unchecked for a long period of time, it may manifest to an attachment, then maybe an oppression, an infestation, and it goes on and on. So it all depends on the circumstance. But actual rolling of the eyes and having to actually bind people to chairs and seeing the extraordinary strength and the things that are coming out of people's mouths. Maybe 10% of everybody that I've actually seen.
And I don't know about you, but I find even 10% to be quite a lot. 10%. That seems like a high number.
It is in today way the way the there's a lot of negative in the world, right? So a lot of negative energy. If you want to know, you can call it evil, you can call it good and evil, you can call it positive, negative energy. I mean, there's a lot of negative, and if you think now with this COVID and everything that's going on, because now this has become a global, worldwide problem. So when the entire global planet is like of having this negative energy, a lot more manifestations are happening. A lot more people are dabbling. A lot more people are at home. A lot more people are, whatever they're doing, they're opening themselves up to more of the stuff. COVID has been very tested on people, and I've noticed, and a lot of people's weaknesses have come out, and they've opened themselves up to a lot of this stuff. So, and kids, especially kids. I mean, the suicide rates have just skyrocketed if you look at the stats. And so, I mean, that in itself just speaks volumes. Young kids are committing suicide in extraordinary numbers because the lack of hope, the lack of, am I ever going to get a house? Am I ever going to get married? How am I going to get 10% to put down a down payment on a home? I'm still in school. There's no jobs when I get out. Everything's on lockdown. I wanted to travel around the world. That ain't happening. We wanted to get married. That's not happening. So all that negativity just opens it up, and of course, evil just loves that. So you're seeing an escalation. 10% is a fair number now. I think maybe 8-10 years ago it would have been 1 or 2. I mean, maybe for every 10 people that called me, one maybe minor case. Now I'm actually I'm actually seeing some really serious things. But again, this is where it's important that I get the team out and investigate, because a lot of times the team goes in and they just find that there's really nothing there, or it's maybe just an earthbound stuff going on, or maybe there's some history to the house that just needs to be and it just needs a cleansing. And maybe I can just find a local priest that can come down instead of me driving 18 hours somewhere in the States. I can find a local priest in that area that can come and do a blessing. Or people use sage and they do their thing, and that's fine. Or they just do some home prayers, change their life just a little bit. Some small changes in people's life will do some dramatic changes in their outcome. So I'm not having to go there to do really nothing, But when there's a case that, oh my God, those scratch marks, and there's you're being pulled out of the bed, and there's things flying off the walls, and there's audio and video for this evidence. Oh yeah, I'm there with all my gear ready to go with the team, and we just go right at it. But like I said, it's more now than it used to be, but it's still rare. Still rare, yeah.
So you've been a part of something where you've witnessed scratching and all this weird stuff happening to the person who's possessed.
Yes, yeah, and even to myself, I've had attacks on myself on the way home. I was driving home from a case down in the States actually last year, and my car overheated. I was coming home, and my car was really overheating. I don't know what was going on. I was climbing some hills. It was a bit of a snowstorm. I figured, why is the car overheating? So I pulled over and opened the hood to cool off the engine, radiator cap blew off, and it burned my entire arm. Got burnt.
Mm.
Now it's healed now, miraculously. I've had my car rolled over. I've had a lot of accidents. I've had shelves come down off the. I mean, people can say maybe it's coincidence, but I find before I go into case, things start to happen. I get flat tires. I get problems. We were on our way to Cornwall to do a case before Christmas, and I was with some members of the team, and all of a sudden, one of the members, I got a call, and the son was at home, and oh my God, there was things happening at their house, and it was trying to get us to stop and go back because we wanted to help the kid because he was by himself. But we pressed on, and the activity stopped. So it was just little things that try to stop us from, because it knows we're coming, right? Just those kinds of things. We'll see. I've seen marks on my body that I don't know how I got. Maybe because a lot of things follow me home and I have to do my own cleansing. I've seen marks on people's bodies. I know one place, I think it was out in New Jersey. One woman, she a woman that's pregnant, right? You can see their baby's foot kind of and it's kind of cool. You can see a hand or whatever. Well, this lady has in her temple area. Just sees this thing being pushed out of her head.
Oh wow!
And as we're interviewing her, we can actually we're filming this and we're seeing this on something's her head is trying to push out. I thought that's just the most bizarre thing.
It is.
So we're seeing little things like that. I mean, I think in Hollywood, in the movies, you're seeing. I think you're seeing a little bit of everything all at once. So you think it's God. You're seeing people's nails are coming out of their mouths, or seeing the vomit and stuff and all that. Then you're seeing, the voices. Then you're seeing the eyes roll back. And then you're seeing the strength, and you're seeing the profanity. You're seeing everything in the movie because there's so much sensualism in that. But in some cases, you're just seeing one or two of those things at a case. You're not seeing it all. I mean, I see someone who's actually got so much stuff coming out of their mouth that it's not really vomiting. It's and I've seen some of these pictures when I was taking the courses through the Vatican. They were showing some that were taken from other places around the world as part of the course. They were showing us some of the things and nails that people were, they weren't actually coming from the body. And then it was X-rays. They were showing X-rays, like medical X-rays, and you could see a face, a head and a face in the chest area, in the X-ray. Some really bizarre stuff. So, I'm never not amazed at some of the things that keep popping up, and it's always something that I never expected. But I get different reports from different people, sort of seeing different things. But what I wanted to add is when it comes to the demonic, they're individuals. They're they have their own personality, their own MO, so to speak, and so if I cast something out and it's gone, 6 months later I may get a call from someone in Florida and say, well, this is happening, and I ask them to describe it, what exactly is happening, and I kind of get a deja vu saying, okay, I've seen this behavior before, and I always kind of get to see that I think it's that same demon I cast out somewhere up here is now in Florida because someone else might have conjured it up or for whatever reason. So I do see trait personalities within a certain, just like angelic, right? Every angel has their own sort of purpose and mission, but the fallen angels and the demons have their own characteristics. So you get to know after a while what their sort of, the demon of fear, the demon of sensuality, demon of murder, the demons that are sort of have their own MO of things. So I'm starting to see aggressive behavior in children or whatever. I'll start seeing things that because once I cleanse the home, you just see all this gone. You don't see those behaviors anymore. You don't see it. Yeah, so it's just weird. There's a lot of that stuff. A lot of flying things in the air. I can tell you that. A lot of things come flying at you.
Okay, we're going to take our halfway break here. When we come back, we'll dive a little bit more into that and some more.
Sure.
Thank you for joining us this evening.
Problem.
For sure. Okay, we're going to take a short break here. You're listening and watching Nocturnal Frequency Radio here on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course our YouTube channel. We'll be right back.
hosts, Steve and Alex.
This is Keith Age, and you're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Enjoy.
You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro to the Mindset Podcast, a weekly attempt to open eyes and shedding light on what's really going on in the world, all done by ripping apart the media madness that masquerades as news. Join me, Gareth Davis, every Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting services such as iTunes, Stitcher, and so on. Or you can go directly to the main Mindset website. That's www.mindsetcentral.com. Check out the Mindset Podcast. Bring your curiosity, your opinions, and a sense of humor. And remember that some worldviews are stranger than others.
Was out. You hear that? Guys, over here. Again, that wailing noise. Look, what's that? What's that? There's something fucking moving over there. You see that? You saw that, right? It was fucking white.
Keith Age, and you're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Enjoy.
You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve.
Alex. Here we go. And welcome back to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course, simulcasting on our YouTube channel.
Yes, simulcast. You gotta hit the like button. Whoever's watching on YouTube, hit the like, subscribe, and the bell notification.
There, yes. And so we're here with Archbishop Plato. Thanks again for joining us tonight.
Pleasure.
Getting more into the aspect that I guess people really don't know the extent of demon possession and the presence of demons, and how would you sort of explain to people out there that have no clue about any of this, what should they look for when it comes to being possessed or somebody who might be acting kind of weird? I mean, what are some of the signs that one should look for?
Well, they're the basic things that you're being told, like an aversion to holy objects, holy places, churches, things like that. The devil likes, fear, doubt, those kinds of things. So if you find people are like that, then they may be being influenced, not necessarily possessed, but they may be being influenced by something. It's really hard to tell, because some people have those kind of characteristics anyway. But I mean, if you're really solid in your faith, you're not going to have any fear, you're not going to have any doubts, you're not going to have those kinds of things. That you're going to be pretty solid. But people don't seem to realize that it's all about consent. It really goes down back to just the basics. Like God says, you ask, you receive. He doesn't interfere in your affairs or interfere unless you ask. So it's about free will and consent. And those universal laws apply to the demonic. They can't interfere. I mean, Satan and his demons were hell because they didn't want to serve God, and that's fine, and that's their free will. But they weren't destroyed; they were cast out. People think, "Oh, I can kill demons." Well, no, you can't. God didn't do it. God cast them out. All we can do is cast them out. But they kept their angelic powers to some degree and all that, and but they can't interfere into your affairs, not any more than God or the angels do, unless you ask. That's where the problem lies, and people are just out there doing things and inadvertently asking, or by their actions or not doing the things they should be doing. We're given consent. The stuff we see on TV, our actions, our moral compasses are out of whack. And some people just bluntly just go out there and say, yeah, I'm just going to go and start serving the devil and do satanic things and rituals and all that. A lot of the occultism are out there. You know, a big, huge realm, big, and people don't know what they're getting themselves into. So when you start dabbling into these things, you're giving them consent to interfere in your life. Some things are very subtle. You just, it's a little agitation. All of a sudden, things at home are not doing so great. Kids coming home, all of a sudden they get involved in drugs and things. There's some fighting with the spouses. There's, animosity at work. It just it's little things. They seek out to destroy God's creation, which we are, and they do it very subtly. They don't, there's ain't like the old days, and back in the biblical days where some guy on the street, he's having a convulsion and he's seizing, and they come and Christ comes and heals him instantly. The devil's a little smarter these days. He's very subtle. He's very slow. He has all the time in the world, and he starts to work into your life. Slowly starts to work into your life. Slowly makes you kind of give consent in a way, and the people who are not strong enough to sort of fight that back, that aversion, then they accept it. Oh well, it's just the way it is, and all that, and so we have to be very careful about what we do, and that's a lot of things I do, especially at Paracons. I talk to a lot of paranormal teams. I say, when you're going in to investigate, be careful. Don't, hey, listen, do that again. Hit me in the shoulder. Tell me that you're here, kind of thing. You're giving consent. You're giving consent. You got to be careful what you say, how you say it, who you say it to. You have to really take this stuff seriously. A lot of people think it's just no big deal. You got a bunch of kids get together, do some drugs, do whatever. They party, they drink, they have fun, whatever. These sort of actions, make themselves vulnerable. And then all of a sudden they start dabbling in things, maybe some sexual immorality or whatever. And next thing you know, they come home, they're more aggressive. Why is John like that? Sort of thing.
So would a Ouija board be one of those? Whoa.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, a Ouija board really is just a piece of wood with writing on it. In itself, it's not dangerous, but it's what you do with it. It's your intention. It's all about the intention, right? It's with any object. I mean, you do handwriting, you do journaling, you do tarot cards. It's what is your intention behind that object? What are you going to do with it? What kind of power are you going to give it? What is your objective with it? And so it's sort of those kinds of things that you really have to watch. Again, I don't tell people what to do. I just know I don't like those things. I don't think they're great. A lot of people, they think, oh yeah, no problem. I've done it. Never had any problem. Great. That's great for you. But, I'm not saying it happens all the time, but you open yourself up to that. And I would rather not you do it than do it, because that causes the problem. I've tried to burn Ouija boards, tried to burn them, and they won't burn. Some of them won't burn. They got so much energy in them. I try to burn the darn things. They won't burn. It takes forever to get them to destroy them. Once I was able to liberate people. So these are things that just people should, they go in front of the mirror, and Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. These little things they did when I was kids. We open ourselves up to so many things, and we just have to be really, really careful. I mean, I know a lot of people are psychic, and they've got great talent, and they got great gifts. Like, I know all gifts come from God, so I respect the gifts, And there's a lot of single moms, and that's how they make their money. They go out and they do readings and whatnot and things like that. But it's a question of why you're getting the readings, and a lot of people are like, oh yeah, they want more. They want to know the unknown. They want the power. They want it's just a little bit of, you gotta be really careful what you're doing. And I don't mind people getting some counseling in that way. And a lot of people think it's fun. I'm not into that. I don't really care. I don't tell people that do it, don't do it. It's not my business. It's like, I believe in the free will. But I'm noticing that a lot of people, this is what they do. They just want to get involved, and because I went into a case once. I had a couple. Well, they weren't together. It was a guy and a girl. And again, this is part of my learning, right? When in the early years, and now I'm very careful about who I actually bring into my cases, because I have to vet them really well because I need to know that they're spiritually well. I don't bring anybody that has anything that's sort of going on. Like if you're having problems at home with your family, or you're having issues at work or whatever, I won't bring you. I want to make sure that you have your issues are resolved in your head, that you're solid for what we're going to do, because I don't need a problem. I brought two people in because they just wanted to experience what I was doing, and I'm going in, I'm doing the ritual, I'm praying, whatever. And this, the person that's possessed looks at the guy and says, does your wife know you're cheating on her? And then looks at the woman and says, does your boss know you're stealing money from work? And so the knowledge of the knowledge of the unknown is another thing of knowing whether this person is possessed, because they wouldn't know these things. And of course, these two just flew out of the house because it freaked them out. So again, these are the things that the demonic tend to dwell on. It knows your sins. It knows your weaknesses. It knows all the things you've done. They live in a world. There's no time-space continuum. They know we're coming before we're going to be there. They know that I'm coming today to do a cleansing. For them, the past, present, and future is simultaneously. They already know the outcome before they even know I'm even going to arrive. So they know everything about you, and it's people should really take that into account. So when you open yourself up to things, you got to be really careful. Start seeing. You asked the answer. The question really is, you want to start looking at the people around you. If their attitudes are changing, if their attitudes are changing, or their behaviors changing, they're finding they're more aggressive. There's a lot of behaviors going on. Then I would be really I'd be looking at what's happening, and that could be definitely something that they maybe got involved with something. It's usually after a party or something. But we got together and did some things. All of a sudden, you start seeing behavior changes at home.
See, Alex, I think we're gonna have a bonfire at your house this summer with all your Ouija boards. That.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, because I got 3 of them myself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know people have lots of them, and then some, and I mean, even Sister Kia, I told you about, she's got one, that she's kept. It's a really expensive one, and I mean, again, it's at all. I know one individual out in Michigan. She's Rebecca's her name, and she's really into the Ouija boards, and she uses it. She calls it a spirit board. So for her, she's very empathic, and she's very good at being empathic. She uses the board as like her way of entering into the spirit realm to get the information she needs. She doesn't use it to conjure up like evil or like to get answers. She uses the board as a means of as a portal, I guess, for lack of better words. But again, I'm not the expert in that, and other people are. It really depends on what you're going to use it for. I was at a paranormal convention up in New York State years ago, actually. Now, we got a person in the audience. He asked me. He says, if I watch the movie The Exorcist, the 1970 version of the movie, am I opening myself up to a possession? And I said, it all depends. Why are you watching the movie? What is your intention for the movie? Is it entertainment? Is it you're just curious? Like what are your intentions? He says, well, I'm part of a paranormal team. I do investigations, and if I ever get involved in a case that might present itself with a demonic possession, I want to know what to do. Well, Hollywood ain't going to tell you what to do. I mean, that's that's probably 20% real and 80% fiction from Hollywood. So again, I said that's not, don't follow that lead, because what happened in the movie, a lot of it is it was based on a boy, but it was a girl. It was Linda Blair, obviously, but the story is based from it's a real story based on a true event. The mother was an actress, but it was a son. It wasn't a daughter, and there was a lot of other things that played out. There was several exorcisms that occurred in different places, but it wasn't necessarily just the one. And a lot of things that obviously the spin of the head didn't happen, but. But I mean, this guy is looking at that and he's saying, "Oh yeah, well, I'm because I saw it in the movie. Now I know how I'm going to do this." Well, that's the problem. You're going to start dabbling and doing something that's not right. And first of all, you don't even have the authority to do it. You may open yourself up to something worse than before. So people really need to be careful what they're doing and why they're doing it. And but The objects themselves are not bad. I mean, I've got a lot of occult books that I use as references and all, and I use them as research. I use them as, I come across a symbol, because I've been to people's homes where I've seen like satanic symbols on the walls, and a lot of people who have dabbled and who have admitted, yeah, I was young, I dabbled in this satanic. I was doing rituals, and I've got books, and I've got this, and I've got that, and I've seen like some of the symbols that they've used, and so I may want to go back and research some of the symbols because they all have sort of different meanings. So I have a lot of occult things that I in my possession that I use for research and just to, because you want to know your enemy, I need to know the enemy's tools, right? But
Well,
again,
that's the thing, right? That's the thing. You need to understand that. I mean, if you have no idea what you're dealing with, I mean, you pretty much had it. You shouldn't even start. And that's what I say. I say the exact same thing, Plato. The fact that these things are good tools to understand what you're dealing with. And a lot of
exactly.
people.
Yeah, well, this is it. Like, there's so many tools. There's the writing, like I know one case. I know you want to talk about some of the different things I've seen. So, like the journal, like there's I guess it was take a pen and you pray or conjure up whatever a spirit and say, give me the knowledge, and she just sort of goes in a bit of a trance, and next thing you know, she's just writing. She doesn't even know what she's writing, and
Automatic
the
writing.
pen's yeah, whatever it's called. Those kinds of things. And she's just writing a ton of stuff, and then apparently she reads back, and there's the message, right? And she did that for years and years, and then she called me up and she said, I've got a problem, blah blah blah, but I don't do this anymore, but I still have the problem. I said, where's the pen? She said to me, well, I don't know. I mean, this is like 20 years ago. The pen's still around. I can guarantee you, if you're having problems, the pen is somewhere in the house, because that's the object you gave power to. Right, so like the Ouija board sort of thing, right? That's what you use as the instrument to get to conjure up whatever you were doing. The reason why you're still having problems is because the pen is still around. So I had her like literally rip through her house. She called me back a few days later and said, "Yeah, I found the pen. I was surprised. I never thought. I mean, I moved 3 times. How did this pen end up following me around?" Right? So obviously we did our thing. There's a ritual. We burned the pen. And then I've never heard back from her. Everything was fine. So again, the object was still there, even 20 years later. She just thought, like, I threw that game away. I was just a young girl. I'm married now with 3 kids and blah blah blah. But she was having problems at her workplace. I remember this. She was having problems with her children. She was having problems with her spouse. She was having problems at work. She couldn't hold on a job. And she said, my life has just been total crap for the last 10 years, and I don't know why. And I said, well, what did you do when you were younger? And we went through, like, I have to sometimes dig. He said, oh, I've done nothing. Let's talk about it, And then next thing you know, well, yeah, this happened, and then this happened, and that happened. And I did play around with that, automatic writing, whatever. And then we get down to the meat, like I said, meat and bones. We figure, okay, well, let's find the pen. Well, I don't have it anymore. Well, it's there. I guarantee it. And sure enough, it was. We destroyed the pen, and her life changed. All of a sudden, she got a job, everything's fine, everything sort of started to get better. So yeah, this will affect your life. This will, they want to destroy your life. They want to uproot your relationships and all the good things that you have in your life, because that's what they like to do. They like to destroy, but again, you gave it consent. It's all about, oh no, I know I did. No, yeah, you did. And so what an exorcist really is, in a sense, is someone who's going to go in and take back that free will you gave up, whether directly or inadvertently. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to give it back to you, and then I'm expecting you to take that free will that I just gave back to you, and now do something better with it, and change your ways, and change what you're doing, and change your lifestyle, start praying together as a family, go to church, do whatever that you think you need to do to make things better, and stop dabbling with things, and move forward. A lot of the work is after I leave. It's not when I'm there. I'm there to get things started, and then I'm expecting them to take on. And the best outcomes are when the people who continue on with the prayers. I leave them the oil, the salt, the water, the prayers. The salt, water, and oil can be multiplied. When you get down to a little bit left, you just get a bigger box of salt, put that in there, you get a bigger box of exorcism salt. So you can have this stuff forever. Just keep multiplying it. And then use it. Sprinkle it around. Put it in your food. Put it in your clothes. put the oil around, bathe in it, and stuff, and use the instruments, use the tools, the prayers, the 5-minute prayers, say them every night. Open up a book, open up a Bible if that's what you want. Read a scripture, little things. Make those changes, and you start seeing better outcomes. So, sometimes that's the majority of what's really going on out there. Is a lot of people just have a lot of affliction, a lot of sort of attachments that they've opened themselves up to. There's no full-blown possessions yet. I think if it goes unchecked for a long period of time, you may end up with a situation where you're going to need some serious intervention.
Now, what do you tell people when they first seek you? And again, we sort of went through this because I referred somebody to you because I figured you'd be able to help them better than I would in that aspect. You covered a little bit of it, but break it down. Somebody's seeking help. What's your normal sort of routine in terms of trying to provide them help? We'll just say pre-COVID, because obviously it's a little different now. But we'll go pre-COVID.
Well, I give them a call. I get usually I talk to the person who's referring, or they actually call me up or send me an email. I'll say, okay, sure. What's your phone number? I'll give you a call. I take the time to actually sit down and spend some time with them. I don't just call them, in the car, and it's not a 5-minute call. I pick a certain slot of time, and we'll sort of sit down together, one-on-one, and then I just listen. Basically, just listening, and I can get a lot just from listening. They go on and on and on. This has been happening for 2 years, and this and that, and I'm getting this, I'm getting that, I'm scratching this, I'm getting scratches that, I'm seeing this, I'm getting dreams, whatever the case may be. And so I listen, and I said, okay, I said, what have you been doing? What have you been doing about it? I said, well, what do you do for me? Well, I want you to come here and I'll do a cleansing or whatever. Okay. And I asked, well, what have you been before you, what have you been doing to help yourself? And I try to find out, and I find out, are you a Christian? Do you believe in anything? Do you have a Bible? Well, it's in the closet. Well, it's not out. Do you have a crucifix up on the wall? Do you go to church? Does anybody in the family or anybody in the family involved in things? Do you have any problems with drugs? In the family, or kids? Whatever. I'm just trying to see, where she's at. I'm going to use her as a she, for example, or a he. What have you been up to? What are you doing for a living? What's going on? When did this start? And then I want to know about the rest of the family. What's going on with the spouse? What's going on with the kids? What's going on with life, and maybe something at work or whatever. And sometimes I can get to the heart of the matter right then and there. But a lot of people will say, well, I haven't done anything. I haven't gone to church in 20 years, and my kids are not baptized, and this and that, and it goes on and on and on. And I said, okay, that's fine. I said, so then that's when I decide, okay, if right then and there, two things, right then and there, if I can send something by mail, or I can drop by and deliver it, maybe I think in most cases I would actually do the interview in person rather than the phone. Now I'm doing it because of the COVID. I would actually like to go because I want to go in and just sense the house. I may bring someone with me, and we just go in together and sort of get a sense of the house and get sort of a conversation piece. What's important to me is I want to know what their sincerity is. I want to know if they're really serious about this problem they're having, or is it just something like a quick fix? Where they think, just get rid of it. I want to get on with my life. Or some people are just attention seeking. So other people just I want to make sure they're not attention seeking. Someone just wants to just get that attention, because what happens is they just keep calling you every day. Oh, I need more help. I need more help. And it never ends, right? I get a lot of that too. So I want to go in and I want to make sure that, they're serious about it. And I want to see what have they been doing, what they haven't been doing. It's just as important as what they have been doing, if anything. And then I give them some homework. I give them some prayers. Try this out. Try that. And know if there's an escalation in things. I want to know if there's, if it gets better. Those. And then I say, in the meantime, while you're doing that team, so I start talking to my peers and start talking about some of the things that we can possibly do and then we would pick a date, set up sort of like the audio, the video, the overnight stays, the all the equipment, like we're doing a paranormal investigation sort of thing. The whole family's there, all that, and they spend the night. And in the meantime, I may get someone to do some little bit of research on the place if they don't already know enough about it. So I'm kind of getting the process started. That's what I kind of do. I don't jump into things. I really, I mean, I don't let it go for too long, but I don't. I want to give it a good month. I mean, the one that you refer me to, it went on for several weeks, and then the tools that I sent are starting to work, and that's where we left it. And I haven't heard back from them, so they're going to carry on. And we were talking about a possible meeting. Maybe we'll revisit this in the spring, like April. And if we need to, we'll go down. But it looks like the tools that they have is working. So that's all I needed. But that's where we're at. Like I say, I don't need to intervene. But I want to know their sincerity and then how sincere they are about being liberated. Because a lot of people just want the attention. They just want constant attention. Sometimes, my clairvoyant partner, when they reach out to her, because I usually get her to call them as well. Because a lot of times with her conversation, she can pick up a lot of stuff that she's not revealing to me. So, but then what happens is, oh, you're psychic. Oh, well, can you tell me about this? Can you tell me about that? I said, no, that wasn't the purpose, So, I really need to get them on board as to exactly this is really what you want, and this because I guess number one important thing, and I have to mention this, is that, especially to your listeners, I need consent that you want this done. If you do have a true demonic oppression or there's something demonic involved, I need to know that you are, first of all, you want this, because if you don't want it, whatever I do will not work. The danger part, the most important thing, if once this thing is gone, I need to prep them, and they need to be prepared to carry on their life with the prayer life, and you have to fill the empty space with something. So whatever I remove from you and cast out, you need to replace that empty space with something. Prayer life, church, family, something positive. The Reiki works well with that because I find if they don't, the thing comes back, and it's in Scripture. It'll come back. If it comes back and finds its place empty after being cast out, it'll come back with 7 worse demons than itself, and the person's actually in worse state than ever. It happened to me once. One person actually didn't do that, and actually was 7 times worse than when I found her. So that's the danger. So I make sure that they are they understand that. That's so imperative. This is not a game. This is serious, and you have to be prepared to make some life changes. I don't care what they are, as long as they're positive. But you have to do something positive, because if you don't, it's going back. So so I have to make sure that that's basically how the approach is. Once that's all been determined and everything's done and they're on their way and that seems to work, then that's as far as I need to go. They've gotten help. Maybe I've done a cleansing in the house. I'll do a blessing on everybody. I may do some reconciliation if they want. I bring the Eucharist. I give them Eucharist, and then they're on their own. They're on their own with all the tools they need to do what they have to do. So that's basically the approach in a nutshell.
And that seems, pretty straightforward too. With when it comes to this sort of now, how does somebody get in touch with you if they're looking to seek some help? How do people get in touch with you?
If I'm on Facebook, all over Facebook, you can probably Google my name and you get about 6 pages of stuff. So my phone number's on there. I give my cell number to anybody. I don't care. Facebook's good. Messenger. You can Google my name and you'll get a few pages of stuff with my phone number on there. A lot of people come through you, like you, like on shows and stuff like that. And they share my number. Those kinds of things. So, but again, like I said, it depends on where I am. I'm in Canada with you, obviously, but I get calls from Tennessee or Kentucky or Florida or wherever, Texas. I try to find a local paranormal team to go in and do a lot of this investigative work. And then if I then of course pre-COVID or even post-COVID, if it becomes really bad, I'll make a trip down. We'll take a weekend off and I'll go down and do what I have to do. Once all the other stuff is done, I will come down. So.
All right, great. I want to thank you for joining us this evening.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And we'll definitely have to have you back on in the near future.
I look forward to that.
When hopefully COVID's past us and things are somewhat back to a normality. I don't know how normal we'll ever get back to again, but at least some sort of normality. And we'll definitely have to have you back on the show. I want to thank you again, Plato, for coming on.
Oh, not at all, my friend. Appreciate it. Thanks to the both of you. Really appreciate it.
Take care.
Take care. Take care and be well.
Yeah. Okay, you too, guys. Take care. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
I hate it when it says on Skype when you get somebody when you take them off the call, it says you kicked them off.
Yeah, kicked them off. Yeah,
you kicked them off.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's one of those scenarios.
Yeah. So I mean, there was some other stuff we could have sort of added to that. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that we could talk about. Like, for instance, I'm sure they do some sort of, protection prayer or anything, before they go into an investigation or use a Ouija board.
Mm-hmm.
Do you protect yourself?
Do I protect myself?
Yeah. Do you feel the need to protect yourself using a Ouija board?
No, I think part of it is mine. It's like Plato said. It's like the intent is what counts, right? So as long as your intent is not, I guess, malevolent, for lack of a better term, you should be okay. And I mean, in the back of my mind, I've always keep, this sort of thing in the back of my mind where I'm only going to let certain things come through and no more than that, right? So only information, nothing else. Like in other words, I don't want to play with, a loaded gun kind of deal, right? I don't want to take a chance. So I just sort of mentally prepare myself or block certain parts of it. And I just let the information flow through and nothing else.
You like the information flow.
It's got to flow. Otherwise it's pointless.
Yeah. You hope it flows.
It flows just like a night after a burrito.
Oh, no. You don't want that kind of flow.
No.
No. You definitely don't want that kind of flow, especially if you're in the middle of a Ouija board session.
Yeah, yeah, that can get messy.
You're definitely possessed then.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. So once again, thanks to Plato for coming on. And like you said, if you're trying to get a hold of him, look him up on Facebook or Google. Google his name. Like he says, it comes up pretty much everywhere, and so he's pretty easy to get in touch with. If you need some sort of spiritual help there, he's definitely the guy to check to seek out. And yeah, like I said, I had a case come across my desk here in the office. I won't get into too many details about it, obviously, because you keep these things sort of confidential. But somebody was seeking help, and they had some issues, and it wasn't. It was totally out of my realm, and I said, "Look, I may know somebody that might be able to help you, and I'll forward you to them, and hopefully they can help you." And that's Plato had mentioned that a couple times, and the person seeked him out, and she was very, quite I don't want to say adamant, like wanting to get something like results right away.
Yeah.
And people
That's society nowadays, though.
Yeah, it's not like you're ordering something on Amazon.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. It takes time.
It does, especially when it comes to matters like this.
Yeah, it takes a huge time, especially with COVID and everything else going on. You can't expect results right away. You can't.
That's right.
It's like literally impossible. So, as he pointed out, things seem to be working out for that particular person, which is good to hear. So, awesome. Yeah, it's we've got some more guests on the horizon, buddy.
We do. Yeah.
Who do we got coming up?
We got Dr. Justin Sledge coming up next week. We'll be talking more about the history, I guess, of the occult and esotericism and topics like that. He's more of an academic, not student, doctor, obviously, but he approaches it on that level. Like, he's not a practicing occultist by any stretch of the imagination. He's just more of he studied it. He studied the history of it, and that's what we'll be talking about. And it'll be interesting, sort of conversation, because we haven't really delved into the history of the occult or esotericism or any of that stuff. So it'll be an interesting switch.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to. It doesn't work. Oh, you know why? It's supposed to sound like a woman screaming.
Well,
doesn't sound like it though, does it?
It sounds like an animal dying is more like it. Ooh, look at that.
Yeah. Death whistle.
Death whistle.
Doesn't really sound like a death whistle.
No, it just sounds like a dying raccoon.
Yeah, dying raccoon. Okay, and who we got? Somebody else coming up after.
We do. I don't want to mess up her name again, but I don't want to mess up the name. I really don't.
Why not? I messed up tonight. Jeez.
So anyway, at the end of the month, we'll have another guest on. She was a participant in a study with lucid dreaming, where they basically tried to communicate with people who were in a state of lucid dreaming, and they basically got some responses. So it should be interesting to find out what kind of, I don't know how much she's going to be able to get into the study itself, but nevertheless, to get her point of view on this kind of stuff will be very interesting. So that's coming up at the end of March.
And of course, we're actively seeking more guests for the show. I mean, we've got somebody hopefully on the horizon that we're going to announce soon. Another potential guest.
Yeah, and for any guests upcoming, just keep tabs on our Facebook page. We'll be able to, keep you updated there.
You sound so enthusiastic about that.
No, I do. It's late at night. I'm tired.
Yeah. Next week's show should be good though. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so am I.
I'm looking forward to that. That's
it's different. Like it's not something we do.
Like you said, it's going to be different.
Yeah, exactly.
Something that we haven't really dove into too much. So that'll be pretty cool to sort of dive into that next week.
And just like last week's show we did, was very interesting.
Oh, great! It was great to have Dr. Mattis on, right?
Yeah,
Mattis.
Yeah.
Dr. Mattis. Very, very knowledgeable, and it'd be cool to have him back on.
Oh, he said he'd be willing to come back on.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's so much. I think I was kind of tensed up during that because I haven't read his book. You've read his book.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I don't know. Like, I'm not well versed in certain things, but you sort of loosen up after a while, and you sort of get into a groove.
Right. But so I mean, he was willing to talk about pretty much anything too, right? So it didn't matter. right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think another interview, another time frame, definitely. I think it'll be even better than the first time.
For sure.
So yeah. Yeah. So like we said, we've got more guests on the horizon coming up. Uh, it's going to be very warm tomorrow.
It is. Finally.
Finally,
Yeah.
the cold snap is finally gonna.
Just in time for my birthday.
Yeah, just in time for your birthday.
Yeah.
How old are you now? 32?
Fuck, I wish. I wish, buddy.
That
I wish.
was quick.
Yeah, well, you know, it's one of those scenarios where you just don't want to even think about it.
So we have to get you 32 burritos.
Yeah, 32 burritos. That's right.
You got to finish each one of them off.
Oh God, I'll die. Yeah, I'll be 40. I'll be 47.
47.
Yeah.
God, you're a puppy.
I'm a puppy. Yeah.
You're a puppy.
Yeah.
I never realized you're that old. I didn't realize you're that much. Holy crap.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing, though. It's a good thing that I don't look my age.
Well, I thought there was a larger gap between you and I.
No, not that much of a
I
gap.
honestly thought there was a larger gap between you and I.
It's only 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a scary thing.
No. More than 3 years.
How old are you?
Oh, shit. How old am I? I'm going to be 52.
All right, so 5 years.
52. Holy shit.
Four and a bit. 4 and change.
52.
Good God.
Yeah.
So do you want me to get you like a cane for your next birthday or like a walker or something like
It's
that?
getting to feel like that. I don't know. Like when I hit 50, I was like, fuck, this is no different. But all of a sudden, I'm starting to feel the aches and pains.
Dude, I took up so we're gonna be putting new flooring in our basement.
Yeah.
Right. And we have the back section of our basement's with carpet, and then the hallway leading up to the back section had like those little square, I don't know what you want to call them, but wood things, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I basically took those off today, and man, did I fucking feel it afterwards. I was like, this is fucking crazy. Like, holy shit.
You're not used to doing that. That's
I don't. I'm not a handy person at all, right? So to lay down the floor, my brother's gonna come by because he's more handy than I am. Like, he used to build houses for a living at one point, right? So he's gonna come by once I get the carpet out, and he's gonna help me lay down the new flooring. Yeah. And I'll paint the room, and basically that I'm gonna be moving the office, what you see here, down to the basement.
Oh.
Right.
To the dungeon.
To the dungeon. I've been relegated to the dungeon.
Alex's dungeon.
Yeah. For a reason. For those listeners out there, longtime listeners, I guess it's safe to say I can announce it right now. But my wife is expecting. Woo-hoo! And that's why I'll be moving down to the basement.
Woohoo!
This is going to be the baby's room.
Daddy-o.
Yeah.
Hey, Daddy-o.
Scary, isn't it? That's a scary thought.
Come on down. Well, we don't know if it's a girl or boy. Well,
it is a girl.
It's a girl.
It is a girl.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And you're gonna say, look at that. Did you want to come down and play the Ouija board?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get her involved in all this stuff. Don't worry. She's gonna be my sidekick.
Oh God.
I feel sorry. I feel sorry for Lisa. She's gonna be like scared to death.
Oh my God, Alex is warping our daughter.
Yep. Pretty much.
God. It's to be expected, eh?
Oh yeah.
So when's she coming for the burritos?
As soon as I can get her to eat solid food.
Oh, cool, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome. That's awesome. That later on this year you're going to be Daddy-o.
Yeah. Yeah. Scary. That's a scary concept.
Life as you know it is going to change.
Oh yeah. It's going to change, but I think it's still a change for the better.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. That's a good attitude. Good to have that positive attitude, Alex. It's good to have that. So
I'll warp her. No doubt I'll warp her.
it's gonna bite into your reading time and
Yeah, it will. But that's okay. You know what? I was actually planning ahead of time. I was actually, because obviously when she's a newborn, you can't really do this stuff. But or you can read to the newborn as well. But I could just picture myself reading to her as she's going to bed, reading the Black Alchemist book to her as she's going to bed. Yeah, that's going to be hilarious.
You already got that planned, right?
I do, yeah. As you can see, I got a whole bunch of books over here I can choose from.
Yeah.
So I'll get this camera set up properly here. There we go. Yeah.
Oh, getting a little bit of feedback. Oh, there it's gone now. That's
right.
weird. That's weird.
That's the remnants.
That's the remnants, yeah.
Yep.
That's the belly erupting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool, man. Congratulations again to you and Lisa. So
thank you.
And you've picked a name, right?
I have, yes. Or we have, I should say.
Huh?
We have, yes.
But you don't want to talk. You don't want to say it right now.
No, I could say it. It's Kiara or Claire for the English version.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. All right. I think that's about it for tonight.
Yeah.
I want to thank Archbishop Plato for coming on tonight. We'll see you next Sunday night, where we're going to have a very invigorating conversation on the esoteric, the occult, magic, and all that wonderful stuff. With is it Justin Slater, right?
Justin Sledge.
Sledge. Why do I keep saying Slater?
You're thinking of Christian Slater.
Oh, I'm thinking of Slater from what's that show? Saved by the Bell.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
No. Oh, God. Next Sunday night with Justin Sledge. Sledge. There, I said sludge. Sledge. Justin Sledge.
Just let me introduce him next week. How's that?
Yeah, you're going to have to. Either that or I'm going to have to be severely intoxicated.
Yeah.
No. Just kidding. Yeah, till next Sunday night. Thanks everyone for tuning in and watching and listening to the show. Whatever medium you're following us. We'd like to see you out again next Sunday night. Thank you for tuning in, and till next Sunday night. Take care, everyone.
Take care.
You have listened to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course, simulcasting on our YouTube channel. Peace until next Sunday night.
Take care. Have a good night.
Take care.